All right. Hi, guys. Today's podcast episode is on a topic that I feel like a lot of podcasters end up covering, and that is love languages. Now, the reason I want to talk about this, because this is not something that I normally care to talk about that much, but I was seeing someone romantically, I guess now it was 2 months ago. And on our first date, he asked about my love languages. I don't even really remember what I said. I just gave my usual spiel. And then a few weeks later into us continuing to talk, he asked again and I was like, "Oh, well, I already told you." And he's like, "Well, I just want to make sure I remembered correctly." And I thought that he had just forgotten and he was tricking me. And I was like, "Okay, well, what do you remember?" And then he regurgitated to me every single thing I said. And I was like, "Whoa, this man has really good memory." It got me thinking though, having all that said back to me, I'm like, oh, I absolutely do have a spiel that I already give. It's preloaded in my brain. How accurate is that? Because people can change, you know? If you're wondering what happened to this said man, because I know he sounds pretty amazing, he is no longer in the picture due to some circumstances not relating to us. So, but great guy. And so I tried last night to retake the love languages test online, and now you have to pay for your results. And I was like, what the helly? I'm not going to do that. But I did. Okay, well, I took the whole test. And then when I wanted to get my results, I needed to pay $39. And I was like, well, that's not happening. But the thing with the love languages test is that it's very obvious which answers or which love languages as you go throughout. So it's not I really need them to tell me how I ranked everything. It's pretty clear just from the process of taking the test. You're probably wondering oh, is this going to be a podcast about love languages in general or how I feel about the system? Because surely I'm not going to spend an entire half hour just talking about my own love languages, because who would care about that? I am going to do that because I've just accepted that anyone who bothers to listen to these podcast episodes, I guess, cares enough about me to just hear me talk about myself. I am indeed just going to run through all the different love languages. I think I'm going to talk about friendship love and romantic love separately, because those are a little bit different for me. And I think it's interesting to see the differences. And obviously there's also the giving aspect and the receiving aspect. So I feel there's actually quite a bit to talk about. Before we get into it, what I will say about love languages, and this is true for all self-assessed things, so Myers-Briggs, Enneagrams, you're inherently answering questions about yourself. And I think when I was younger, high school, college, I had certain personality traits that I really identified with. And I feel I almost kind of leaned into them and perpetuated them in a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of way. So for example, in college, I really identified with being a grind beast who never slept. And then I ended up burning out. And now I don't really identify as someone who likes working hard. Or my mom always told me growing up that I was an extrovert, only for me to find that I'm actually a huge introvert. And so I think when I take these assessments, I can sometimes struggle with knowing what is even true about myself. When I took the Enneagram test, my results were literally in the middle for all the different number types. I had no strong one that stood out. And I feel it's because I kind of am conflicted of am I extroverted or introverted? Am I hardworking? Am I not? Am I perfectionistic or am I not? Because I'm not really sure about a lot of these things. And I think with love languages, there's definitely a certain narrative I've told myself about what my love languages are. And a lot of it is based in the truth, but I sometimes wonder if there are certain things that I believe to be true about myself that I just continue to lean into more, especially with romantic, right? Because I have less experience on that front. But I think for the most part, my results for this have been really consistent over the years. So I like to think it's true-ish. Now, I think I'm going to talk about friendships first because, like I said, I have a lot more experience with this. And I'm going to go from my bottom ranked one to my top ranked one. There is, some differentiation between giving versus receiving, but I feel the ranking is not super different between the two for me. So the bottom is definitely going to be physical touch. And I'll get into this more when I talk about romantic love languages, but I do not do physical touch with my friends at all. My roommate, we have been really good friends for almost 10 years now. And I'm pretty sure I've hugged her under 10 times. It's just not something I do, but it is so important to me in romantic relationships. And I think especially now that I'm on a really long stint, I think like 5 or 6 years of like being single, it makes me wonder if like that matters so much to me in romantic relationships, because I'm getting like none of it from my friendships and I'm just like so touch deprived. The thing is, I think there's like, it's not that I don't like physical touch. I am just not the type to initiate it. And I also think there are like certain people that I'm comfortable with physical touch and people that I'm not. So for example, my like gay best friend, we will like always hold hands when we're like walking, like I'll initiate it when we're like walking down the sidewalk, but I like never touch any of my female friends, which is like, okay, do I just hate women? I always try and like go back to like childhood and my parents when I try to understand things like this, because I have an obsession with self-therapizing. And if you listen to my therapy episode, you do know that I'm therapist-less, so I kind of have no choice. My mom is like extremely effusive. She loves physical touch. It's like a running joke in our family. Like when we go back home and visit her, she will give us like this chokehold hug and then like sway you back and forth side to side while also rotating. It low-key makes me really dizzy. And she will not like end that hug until you pry yourself free from it. She loves physical touch. And then my dad is very much the opposite. Like he's not like doing the most, but he'll give me a hug from time to time. And I think it feels like really, really special and intimate when he like initiates that, because he normally doesn't. And obviously I love physical touch with both my parents, but I think with my mom, it was like more for her. Like she loves physical touch and I was like obliging her. Whereas I feel like my dad like gives me physical touch more when like I'm struggling or like I'm upset, and it's like a more comforting thing. Or it's like he'll like hug me like one time when I like first come home and visit, and I can like tell he's really missed me. Like I feel like it comes from like a more like this is for you kind of place versus this is for me when it comes to like friendship. Like when I'm really, really upset and I'm crying and like one of my friends gives me a hug, obviously that's like really meaningful to me and I'm not gonna like hate that. Most of my friends are not touchy, but like my friends who are really touchy and having them just like be in my personal space, I'm not gonna say like not respect my boundaries, because I don't have friends who are like not respecting my boundaries, but you know, like having friends who are just like super touchy with you and that's like not necessarily how you do things, that obviously I'm like a little bit less receptive towards. I also think I'm trying to like actually make this change in my life now and like seek more physical touch with my friends. I think the friends I already have, it's like I'm not gonna like start being touchy with friends that I've had for like a decade that I'm not touchy with. I just like do not want to try and do that. But I think a lot of the new friendships I make, I'm trying to like set like a different tone for the friendship where it's like less weird that we like hug and stuff. I don't know, if you think about my closest friends though, like Emily, Marissa, like we don't hug, we don't touch. When you try and film TikToks together that require us to like even stand close to each other, it's like so uncomfortable. And I think the fact that like everyone in my life is like that kind of speaks to the fact that that's definitely not how I give and receive love. I'm like, I think becoming more open to receiving it, but I definitely don't know how to initiate it. If someone's crying and I'm like, I feel like I should hug them right now, I like don't even know how to go about it. It's so bad. It's like a really tough watch. Goes without saying that this is my bottom one. Next up, another love language that ranks really low for me is words of affirmation. I will say, what exactly does words of affirmation mean? I think people often associate it with praise, like, oh, you're so smart, you're so hardworking, you're so beautiful. And that I definitely don't want to hear. I am often accused of not taking compliments well. And it's not that like I don't like receiving praise. It's more that I have a very strong sense of self and I have a lot of things that I believe to be true about myself. And it goes both ways. If you say something nice about me I don't agree with, I'll ignore it. If you say something mean to me that I don't agree with, I'll probably also ignore it. So for example, if someone tells me I'm smart, I'll be like, oh, I'm very good at getting good grades. I'm good at standardized testing and I can learn almost anything if I want to. But my brain is definitely wired towards getting results on an exam and I don't really internalize concepts and I'm not that good at applying them elsewhere. That's what I believe to be true about myself. And so if I already believe that, someone telling me I'm smart, I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, like I know I'm like a very accomplished student, whatever. But I think words of affirmation where someone is noticing something about you that you don't even know about yourself, like complimenting you on a trait that you didn't even realize you had. That is obviously super, super meaningful because that shows that that person really sees you and understands you. I feel like a lot of my love languages come back to this feeling of like really being like seen on a deep level by the people around you. And the other kind of words of affirmation that I think is really actually meaningful to me is like, so for example, if it's taking me a long time to get over something, my roommate is really good about being like, there's no timeline for moving on from something. Like, stop putting pressure on yourself to get over it. There's no certain time when you should be over it. And, you know, like beating yourself up about the fact that you're not over it is never going to help you. Like, you need to be kinder to yourself. I feel like those kinds of words of affirmation, which is like affirming and validating your feelings, is so, so helpful to me and like really represents as like an expression of love. So it really depends on your definition, but I do consider myself to be a really confident person. So I definitely don't seek validation from other people. And I think this is also why like the people I date or like my really close friends are not people who expect me to like really affirm them on their amazing traits. And it's not because I don't think they're amazing, but it's because, you know, my friends being like really smart, hardworking, beautiful, kind, caring people, like that is a given to me. It doesn't even need to be said. If they want to hear that, of course I can say it, but I'm not someone who's gonna just like go out of my way to say that without being prompted. Like, it's funny, I've been told that I write like birthday cards that literally make people cry because I say like such meaningful, like vulnerable, loving things. But those are all things that I feel all the time. I just don't think I have any sort of urge to verbalize it because I also don't really seek that from the people around me. Now, my middle love language out of the 5 is gifts. And this tends to surprise people because I'm really not materialistic. Like, I do not believe in retail therapy. I don't necessarily enjoy shopping. I don't find that much joy in nice things. That's why I didn't last that long in finance, because like money really can't buy happiness for me. But I think gifts to me means like small tokens that show someone was thinking of you. So in my family growing up, we did like opening gifts on Christmas, but I'm not gonna lie, we weren't that good at buying gifts for each other. My sister and my parents, to their credit, my style was like changing every single year, but I don't think they necessarily like hit the nail on the head in terms of things I would love every time. But what we did always do is like bring home like leftovers. So for example, if my mom had like a meal at the office, she'd bring back even just like a can of soda or like some pastries or some cake. My dad, he like flies every other week for work, and he would always bring like the free snacks that he got on the airplane. Also those like little alcohol shooters things, he always brings those home. So we have like the most expansive mini bar of shooters at our home. For me, it's like a very habitual thing when like you love and care about someone to just like bring a little something back. Like, I love getting small souvenirs for people when I'm traveling, or like if I'm at a cafe and I'm trying a pastry that I really think my roommate would like, it's like I'll bring half home for them. And I think it's just like a really sweet way to show that even when you're not with that person, you're thinking about them. And there are, you know, small things that like remind you of the person. The other type of gift I think is really meaningful for me is one that like really shows that someone sees you and understands you. And, you know, again, that is the running theme for me with all love languages. And obviously I will appreciate any gift at all because the intention is there. But I think when I get a gift where it's like, why did this person think that I want this? It does make me feel like they don't really know me or understand me. Whereas if they come up with a gift that like I wouldn't even think to buy for myself, but that like really improves my quality of life, I'm like, oh, like this person almost knows how to care for me better than I even know how to care for myself. As someone who has been for like the last 5 years single and mostly taking care of myself, I think that is like really, really special to me. I do sometimes have a crisis about whether I have become less of a gift giver because the people around me are not big gift givers. I had this like core memory story from 3rd grade. I don't know if y'all's like elementary schools did this, but we had like Valentine's Day grams. So you could pay like a few bucks and be like, oh, I'm going to send a Valentine's Day gram to this person. And then on the actual day, they would like come and deliver them. It was such a social capital thing, right? If you got like a ton of Valentine's Day grams. And I remember I sent one to like all my friends because like anytime I'm presented with an opportunity to like gift people, like that really excites me. It's very like second nature to me. So I got them for all my friends, and then I received none. And it's not because I have shitty friends. Like my friends just didn't buy Valentine's Day grams for anyone. It's not like they didn't choose me. But I feel like that really sums up the situation of like, I really love to give gifts, but I think the people around me, it's not like they're not getting me gifts. They just like gift giving is not their love language. And obviously like it's not transactional, and it's not like, oh, because you don't give me gifts, I don't give you gifts. But I do think like we're all adults, and you just establish like certain friendships that are either like, I'm gonna think of a really, really good birthday gift for you every single year, or like get you a Christmas gift every year, or you don't. And as long as like you set a certain tone for the friendship, that's what it is. And with really long-term adult friendships, I do think like setting a tone of like not getting a gift is more sustainable, or like something really small, you know? I think the other thing is how many people I would have to get gifts for, because, you know, I just have so many friends. No, I'm obviously kidding, but I'm not that person where I have like my best friend, because I feel like if you really have like tiers of friendship and there are these people at the top, then yes, you can commit to getting them like a really fire personalized gift every year. But like for me, my closest friends, it's like a core group of 5 of us total from college, and like we hang out as a crew all the time. I would not get like one of them a birthday gift and not get the rest of them birthday gifts. And so then suddenly like 4 really great personalized birthday gifts every year, it starts to feel like I have to think about a gift all the time. I think that's why we've gotten a lot better as a group at like doing group gifts, like pitching in for something, or we just ask them what they want. And I think that's something that's become more of a trend with like the gift giving in my life in general. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love it, because like I said earlier, like a lot of the meaning to me is like them being able to come up with the idea. But that's a lot to ask from someone, to be able to like think of something you want that you yourself haven't even thought of. Like, I don't think I'm really that good at doing that for the people around me anymore. Maybe I'm just becoming less good of a friend. I think for me, like most things that I truly want, I will just spend the money and get for myself. So when someone gets something for me, it's more like they're just saving me the money, and that is a little bit less meaningful. But these days we're a bit short of money, so now it is really helpful. I definitely do that now with my family, like my sister and my parents, because love them, but I don't really trust to leave them to their own devices. And it works well. Like my sister and my brother-in-law have gotten me like so many amazing gifts because I just tell them something I need. This podcast mic that I'm using right now is actually a gift from my sister and brother-in-law, because I just sent them the link and I was like, can I get this $100 mic from Amazon? And obviously it is very useful and what allowed me to start my podcast. So I really can't complain. I always get confused when my friends say that I'm hard to shop for. And I know what they mean. They're like, because you're an influencer or whatever, like you have so much stuff. You have so much makeup, nail polish, like clothes. But when they do try and buy me stuff in that category, I feel like I really, really love it. Like there was one birthday where one of my friends got me the shirt. You've probably seen me wear both of these. It's like asterisk gone missing. Love that one because I'm like known to just like go off the grid because of my depression, LOL. And then my other friend got me one where it says it's exhausting to be me, which is like also very me because I'm always just like fighting for my life to exist. And it was so funny that I got like both of them from 2 different people on the same day. I was like, wow, this says a lot about me. And yes, I have so many lippies, but if someone just got me like a $5 lippy for my birthday, I would still love that. Like I just love the experience of like opening a gift, and as long as it's not like not totally whack, I'll still be really, really happy. That's like the one thing that makes me kind of sad about the fact that I don't really celebrate my birthday, is like I don't really get the gift opening experience, because I do really, really love that. I just don't think I deserve it because I'm like not really getting gifts for the people around me, so I'm obviously not going to expect people to get me gifts. Now, the last 2 love languages, I feel like they're pretty on par, and I feel like these ones tend to be high for a lot of people. It's quality time and acts of service, right? Quality time, I know I keep bringing up the definition for these things, but I think it's because like the way they word like the examples in the exams is so like bizarre to me, / like not that like nuanced. So like for quality time, I feel like a lot of people say this, But what they don't mean is quality time, they just mean time. And obviously, like, who has friendships where they don't spend time together? Actually, I low-key maintain a lot of really close friendships where you don't spend that much time together. So maybe this shouldn't even be that high for me. But it means like quality time, like really locked in, engaged time with each other. And that is, of course, like super meaningful and super essential to like feeling intimate with someone. But the thing about me is back in college or like college and prior, I feel like my friendships were very like, I didn't really have tiers of friendship. I only had like ride or dies. All my friends were people that I would like get one-on-one dinner with, give full life update. They were people where I would like tell them my deepest, darkest secrets. We were very like emotionally open with each other. And I felt like they deserved to like know everything going on in my life. And to have like that kind of relationship and to have so many of them is like, I feel so grateful for that, because I know some people literally just want like one person they feel that, you know, emotionally safe with. But I think like, especially for my social battery, it got kind of exhausting to have all these people be clued in on your life. And of course, someone wanting to know about your life, you know, I really appreciate that, but it started to feel like a burden of like making sure everyone knows what's going on. And I think during COVID, it like got even worse, right? Because COVID is really where I know people would like get in like little group calls and like play games and stuff, but I feel like this is why like guys low-key thrived, or not thrive, but like gaming culture, like they already had like a set system during COVID of like hanging out in a group in a very chill, casual way. Whereas for me as a woman, like the only socializing I started having was like one-on-one calls where we're just like really engaged in conversation. And when I came out of COVID, I don't know if this is a hot take, I was not like super excited. I know everyone was like, I miss human connection. I was like, dude, I feel fine. Like that's, I think when my introversion like really sunk in, I was like, I'm like not craving companionship. Like I'm good. But what I did really, really miss is like a more low level group socializing. So I mentioned that core group of friends I have. Like we will just like hang out in the living room, like lying on the couch talking, having this like group hangout where I don't have to be talking all the time and where we're just like chatting. Like we're not necessarily having like really meaningful conversation, or, you know, like watching TV with people, just like doing stuff with people, more like parallel play. Like, you know, when like my roommate and I both go to a cafe and are like working on our laptops, that is like something I really, really miss during COVID. And it's something I think is really helpful for me as someone who doesn't always want to carry like the social and emotional burden of like having this deep one-on-one conversation. In that sense, like I enjoy time with people, but I don't necessarily need like a huge volume of like really locked in quality time. I of course want that. Like I don't think I'm going to feel close to someone if we're only hanging out in group settings and I can't have like deep conversations with them. But like, for example, like Emily and Marissa, those are friends that I have made like later in life, like in the last 1 or 2 years. And I think our friendships are built more around like activities. So like getting together, taking content, traveling together, like doing fun stuff together versus like hashing out our feelings and like being each other's therapists. And it's kind of like a nice change of pace. Like now I have friends like my roommate who are much better at like being there for me in my most like vulnerable, difficult times. But I also have friendships that are just like more centered around like doing fun things together. And so like Emily and I, like a lot of our hangouts is just us sitting at a cafe and like both editing photos on our phone and next to each other. We're both like kind of distracted, but it doesn't rub me the wrong way. So that's why I don't know how much like quality time matters to me. Like obviously I don't want people who are rude. It's okay if like we have like more parallel play time than like really engaged one-on-one time, you know? And then last up, I feel like this position is pretty undisputed, and that is acts of service being my top one. If you have listened to my other podcast episodes, I don't think this will surprise you a lot. I've talked a lot about having like an acts of service dad and how I want an acts of service man. To be clear, I always talk about having an acts of service dad. My mom like also is very much like acts of service and does a lot of things to make my life easier. I think she's just also very effusive in terms of like words of affirmation and physical touch. Like will literally randomly send me a paragraph about how I'm like so beautiful and gorgeous and smart. Maybe that's why words of affirmation is so low for me, because I got so much of it growing up. But I think acts of service, it really reminds me primarily of my dad, because that is definitely like his number one love language in terms of giving. The truth is, like, I just get stressed and overwhelmed very easily. Or I don't know, I go back and forth between like I get overwhelmed easily or like my life just tends to be overwhelming. Because, you know, in high school, I was like every other overachieving kid where, you know, I was supposed to get like a 4.0, but like also have like 1,700 extracurriculars. And then in college, again, I was trying to keep like a 4.0 at an Ivy League and still do all this stuff outside of school. And then I was in investment banking where I was working like 80 to 100 hours a week. So obviously I was very stressed. And now with this job, if you listen to my like, do I regret becoming an influencer podcast, you know, I have like zero work-life balance and have like no boundaries between my work life and not. And there's just like an unlimited amount of stuff that I could be doing as a content creator to like scale my platform and make this a sustainable career. I feel like I'm talking really fast, but I also do think I tend to get stressed a little bit easily. It's definitely better now, but I think the undiagnosed potential ADHD is also a big part of it. Like, it just makes it harder for me to like be on top of my shit and like get as much done as I would like to. And so the one thing that I like crave in my life is not like, oh, I need someone telling me I'm amazing, or I need a hug, or I need someone to hang out with me. I need help. That is what I need. I always say, like, I don't need more friends. I don't need a husband. I just need like an unpaid personal assistant. And I do really think the thing that like improves my quality of life the most is like having someone help me with things that either I can't do or I don't like to do. It's funny though, because I actually don't know how much this plays into my friendships. I think for the most part, my other love languages, the ranking like really plays out in the type of people I've surrounded myself with and like how much of that love language I get. But I think with acts of service, it's kind of hard for me to think of examples of like acts of service and friendships completely unprompted. I think what's great about like my friendships is that we have gotten a lot better about like asking each other for help. Or actually, I don't know about my friends, but I've gotten better about like asking for help and not expecting it when I don't ask for it. So for example, like when I'm moving, that's like the one time where I'm like so aware of the fact that I'm single, because I'm like, why am I picking up a U-Haul at 6 a.m. and then getting a freaking ticket for running a yellow light? Like, I'm trying to move, okay? And it wasn't yellow when I crossed the first, whatever. I'm going on a side tangent. I just don't have like that many situations in my life where my stress could be alleviated by a friend. Like, they're not going to edit my video for me or do my work for me. And that goes both ways. Like, once you're an adult, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, do each other's jobs? Obviously you can't. And my friends are not gonna like cook dinner for me regularly. So I just like struggle to come up with like ways that you can really show acts of service to your friends unprompted. I do think part of it is the fact that like a lot of my friends now do have romantic partners and live with them. So like they probably don't need as much help moving. For example, if they ask for it, of course they'll show up. And you know, I'd like do offer to like help friends like pack, unpack and stuff like that. But I'm kind of realizing I don't know how good I am at like giving acts of service as a friend. Like, maybe this shouldn't be my top for friendship. I feel like it definitely is in like a romantic relationship, but I like don't really know how it fits as well into an adult friendship. I think part of this is also like I used to have friendships that were a lot more unprompted acts of service and just like love languages, expressions of love in general. Like, I had friends who would like drive up from Southern California to the Bay Area to help me like move apartments, just like doing the most for me. And of course I really appreciated that, but I think this is like a larger topic that I could have a whole episode on. I've learned more about like the type of friendship that is sustainable to me. And I think that was difficult because some people just have, I think, the capacity to like do that for their friends more than I do. And of course, like, it's not supposed to be like tit for tat and a transactional thing, but I do think it's hard for me to consistently reciprocate like that much for another person. So in my case, it is kind of easier to have these friendships where we aren't like dropping everything and like giving the world to each other or like doing the most when the other person is struggling. Like, I really had friends like that where like when I was going through it, they would like try to do everything in their power. And I think that's difficult when like you're friends with someone like me who like struggles with depression and is going to be sad a lot, and there's not a lot you can do for me. So I prefer like the kind of friendships I have now where there's a very open channel of communication, and I can ask for help and like tell people like the ways in which I want them to show up for me, but I'm never like expecting them to do the most. Because what you've probably heard from like all the love languages is that I don't expect a lot from my friends, and I don't want that to come across as like my friends don't do a lot for me. But I am just like an independent person. You know, I've been single, like I know how to take care of myself, and if there's something I need from people, I will ask for it. So maybe acts of service shouldn't be this high, but I think I put it this high because it is ultimately the thing that is like most helpful to me and like helps alleviate my stress the most. Because even though like I struggle with depression, it is often linked with like my workload and how much I have to get done. And so I think anything that like helps me to be more productive is also going to help my mental health. And I guess even though I'm not that good at like giving acts of service, like I don't know how often I do it, I do like enjoy the feeling of it. Like I like feeling like I'm helping someone else with something tactical because I know that that is really helpful and meaningful to me. I don't know, comment some examples down below. It'll probably make me feel really bad about myself because there's actually so many ways that you can show acts of service to your friends, and I'm just not doing them. Now, moving on to romantic, of course, a lot of this is a little bit more theoretical because everyone leaves me within 3 months, lol. But I've had like dating experiences, albeit brief, with quite a few people. So I do think I actually like know myself pretty well in terms of what I like want from a partner. Of course, like when it comes to like way more long term, when you're like out of the honeymoon phase, it's harder to say. But I don't think what I look for from a person to begin with is that based around romance. So I like to think that like most of what I'm saying will stay true. But what's funny about this is there's not like a super obvious ranking for me. So when it comes to romantic relationships, I want everything. Like I need it all. And I do want to say, I don't think I'm the type of person where like I expect too much from my romantic partner. Like the fact that I have been single for so long and I am very independent means that I really do see a partner as like just someone to do life with and to like, you know, lift some load off my plate and I lift some of the load off their plate, but I'm not expecting them to like single-handedly like support my ego or my self-esteem or like do everything for me or like make me feel pretty, etc. Because if I needed that from a man, I probably would have lost my freaking mind by now. I do think the bottom one for me would probably be words of affirmation for the same reasons that I talked about earlier, especially when I'm like first dating someone, like when I'm like on Hinge or something and a man compliments me. Like a lot of times it pisses me off because I'm like, compliments to me are meaningful when they come from someone who knows you well and who can compliment you in a meaningful way. But like when someone that I barely know like tells me that I'm like hot or that I'm smart or that I'm funny, I'm just like, no fucking shit. Like, why do you think I need to hear that from your busted ass? Like, shut up. I don't say that, for the record. So I think when it comes to a romantic partner, I definitely don't need them to like tell me I'm like smart or like hardworking or like, you can get through this week. Like, you got that grit, girl. Who talks like that? But my point is, I think I like compliments around things that are like subjective, because those are things where it's like, it's purely up to your opinion, so I like to hear that you like it. I do like to be complimented on my appearance a lot by a romantic partner, and I think that makes sense, right? Because you want them to be attracted to you. Like, I do not like compliments on my appearance from random men on the street, because like I don't care that you're attracted to me, and actually I would like you to not be attracted to me because I am not attracted to you. But when it comes to the person you're dating, obviously you want that. I will just get this out of the way. I think I over-index quite a bit on like the physical aspect of a relationship, which is something that we're definitely not going to get into right now and maybe ever. That's very much a therapy conversation, but it's really important to me that like I feel like the person I'm with like is physically attracted to me, so I want to hear stuff like that. And you know, it's like nice if like they appreciate like your outfit. I'm fine with dating someone who is like not into fashion, but I'm not gonna like date someone who doesn't clock the fact that I have good style. Like that would be, I mean, that'd be fine, but it'd be kind of an abomination for them to like not have any appreciation for that. In terms of giving, I think I'm pretty good at like giving compliments on appearance to men. This is all assuming that like we're far in enough where like I feel comfortable complimenting them. when I first meet men, I'm like really not nice to them, and I'm definitely not going to say anything nice to them. But like I am like very like, I'll definitely compliment a guy I'm with on like when he looks good, or I like his outfit, or like his haircut looks good. Other stuff, like I can't be with, I mean, this won't shock you guys, I can't be with the guy who's like not confident, or it's not even like about how confident you are, but I can't be with someone who like needs validation and words of affirmation from me, because that is just like not how I show love. And I can do it when prompted. Like I have like one specific guy friend who's like an amazing guy, but I think he deals with his self-esteem. So he'll sometimes, when he's going through it, he'll ask his friends to like write little paragraphs on like what they think of him as a friend, and basically like validating him, which I think is like great that someone can ask for that. And of course I can do it. I have so many nice things to say, but it's just not something I do unprompted. And I think long term, I cannot be with a man where I need to be like, no, like, you're so smart, you're so hardworking, you can do this. I just, like, you should know that. You shouldn't need to hear that from me. And I am in general the type of person where it's like, the fact that I am with you should tell you a lot. Of course, like, you need to continue to like show up for the other person. But if I'm spending time with you, if I'm talking to you, if I'm responding to you, if I fuck with you, that should say volumes. And I think that's why I just like don't feel that inclined to like verbalize it. The other 4 love languages are like definitely things that I need from a partner. If I had to rank them, I guess the next one would be gifts, probably. A lot of the things I said about friendship gifts stand true. I think for me, I do care though about gift giving culture in relationships. It doesn't have to be like something big, but I do appreciate something. Like, I don't think I'd be happy if I had like a Valentine's Day or like a birthday where they didn't do anything and like didn't give me anything. It can be really small. I don't like extravagant gifts. Honestly, I'd be like, there were so many other things that I would have rather spent that money on. So just like, unless it's something that you know I really love and I'm just not willing to like spend the money on it, but that's very rare, like those kind of occasions. So in general, like I don't like an expensive gift. If it was like a trip or something, obviously that would be like really cute and fun. It's just like, do something. I don't know how sentimental of a person I am. Like, you know how some people are like, nothing is more meaningful to me than like a beautiful, really personally written card. I guess this goes back to words of affirmation not being my love language. Do not have your gift for me be a fucking card. Like, I will read it and be like, that's so sweet, and then I will throw it away. And you know how like couples will make each other like those like books? I think some of them are meaningful, like the ones where they've like written journal entries or like letters like from the time they met you. Obviously, like that is so meaningful, but where they just like scrapbook little photos of you together over the years, like that's cute, I guess. But like, I don't know. I think my like gift, the type of gifts I want from a romantic partner kind of sit in the middle of this like useful to romantic spectrum. I don't think I like super romantic sentimental gifts, but I also don't like overly practical gifts. I guess it depends, right? Like my roommate's boyfriend got her an espresso machine and she like can't live without caffeine and literally uses it every day. So obviously that's an amazing gift. But for me, I'm like, I can't think of anything practical that would still be like romantic. Like I wouldn't want my romantic partner to get me this podcast mic because I'd be like, I mean, I was just going to get that for myself. I guess I could like romantic gifts. Like I would not want a plushie from a friend, but I would think a plushie from like a romantic partner could be cute. Just don't get me them all the time because I don't really know what to do with them. With the exception of Cupid, my weighted elephant, because that's a practical stuffed animal. Like I sleep with him and like it's nice to hold something that has like a lot of weight to it while I sleep. But like my other little plushies that I've gotten, they just like sit on the shelf and collect dust. I don't know, I'm not a plushie girl, but I do really love like flowers. I think there's this like misconception, like a lot of guys who date me think that I won't like romantic things. I did just say that I wouldn't want the photo book, but not that I don't want the photo book, but I think they think I want like extremely practical gifts and that I'm like not into romance. And I get like why my demeanor might convey that, but like I love flowers and like I still love romantic things. Like one guy was like, oh, I feel like you'd rather someone like DoorDash you a meal than like give you flowers, which is like kind of fair in the like acts of service sense. Like if I'm really stressed, I would want like to not have to worry about cooking, but like I still like cute things, y'all. Okay, I'm not like I don't want you to just get me like a fucking vacuum cleaner for my birthday. And I think beyond like the holidays, it's like what I was talking about earlier, like the little tokens, like, oh, I saw this thing that reminded me of you and I got it for you. Or like, oh, I was like at a cafe with my friends where they like bring back like a coffee for you or a pastry for you. I think that is just like really, really sweet. And like I said, just the type of like expression of love that I grew up with. When it comes to gift giving though in romantic relationships, I am like out of control. There's this phrase that like one of my ex-best friend actually coined, which is good girlfriend energy, because she was saying, I'm worried I wasted all my good girlfriend energy on like my first boyfriend. And that's, you know, when you're like giving really, really good gifts and like just like being like a very like good girlfriend and like doing the most for your boyfriend. But then it's like, do I burn out and have less of that to give the next person? I was worried that was the case. And then this person that I mentioned I was seeing earlier this year, I was like, oh God, I think my gift giving energy has like gotten pent up. And I will say like, this is the one giving thing that I like look forward to when it comes to a romantic partner. Obviously there's a lot to like look forward to receiving, but the one thing where I'm like, oh, I really wish I could like give gifts. I was like seeing this guy briefly in Chicago like a few years ago. And I remember he used my brother-in-law's like really nice Japanese knife when he was at our place, and he really loved cooking. And he was like, oh, that knife is so nice. And I wanted to buy it for him. And my brother-in-law was like, you have known this dude for 2 weeks. What? You have like no business spending $200 to buy a knife for someone that you barely know. And he really clocked me, because that was the man who ended up telling me that he like loved me after 7 weeks and then like broke up with me because I wanted something more serious than he did. I don't know. He was whack. But same guy, I remember I got gifting from like a really nice jewelry brand. And to be fair, I already had a lot of stuff from them. But like I just let him pick like 2 pieces that he wanted. And he probably still fucking has them. And so clearly like I am so eager to give gifts to like someone that I'm with. And this most recent guy, I like barely spent any time with him. We weren't like seeing each other that long. And I already was like racking up so many ideas of like things I wanted to get him. And when I'm like seeing someone, I like immediately start thinking about what I want to make for them, except they never stick around long enough for me to actually do it. So I can still say that I've never crocheted or knit something for, actually, no, I have. Okay, I take that back. But yeah, clearly I really, really love to give gifts. That's one thing you can look forward to if you date me. If there's any sexy single men out there, just kidding. Stay away from me. Okay, the last 3 are, I would say, like non-negotiable love languages for me. And so physical touch, I guess I won't put it top, but this is something for me where like, I am not a PDA person, for the record. Like I'm not that person who's like literally macking on someone around their friends. But when there aren't people around, like physical touch is so important to me. And like I mentioned earlier, it's probably because I'm so freaking touch deprived from the fact that I don't touch anyone else in my life. I know there's some people where like they kind of like to have their boundaries and they don't want to just like receive random casual touch. Like, oh my gosh, one of my friends is complaining about a guy she was seeing. She was like, I tell him that I need to focus on work, and then he'll like casually just like come and like rub my arm or like touch my hair when I'm working, and it pisses me off so much. And I was like, whoa, I have never related to anything less. Like, I don't think I could be with someone like that where like they don't, I mean, obviously like if you're in a freaking meeting or you're like clocking work hours, but I couldn't be with someone who like doesn't like casual physical touch. And it's hard to say. I think if they didn't initiate it, it would definitely be something we would argue about. Maybe I could work through that, but you definitely have to be okay with like receiving it. And ideally you give it too. And this also like falls into the category of like me wanting to feel like the other person is attracted to me. It's like one of the things that I feel the most happy to have when I do have someone in my life romantically. Those moments when we get to just like be cuddling. I hate saying cuddling. It feels gross to me, but like that's a thing I do. Like cuddling or just like holding hands, like it means so much to me. Like it makes me like feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Okay, this is gross. We're gonna move on. Now for quality time, I do think the quality maybe matters more to me than the quantity. Like a lot of my friends think it's diabolical that I am like totally fine with the idea of a long distance relationship. Let me caveat, I don't want it to be that far. Like I think if they lived in California, I lived in New York, that's kind of difficult. It is a pretty long flight. And then obviously like international is really hard. and it's not like a permanent thing. Like I wouldn't want to do it for more than 2 years. But I think with my job, I've mentioned before, I have like no boundaries between like when I'm working and when I'm not. Having a romantic partner who's just like around a lot and like spontaneously wants to like hang out all the time is honestly like really unconducive for like my workflow, especially if they don't want to like be in my vlogs and be on camera. Like I can't have you like randomly around in my space, because like my room is my office and I am filming like all the time. Like y'all know in my crochet vlogs, like I'm also filming all the other stuff I'm doing throughout the day. And so the idea of being with someone who doesn't live in the same city, like that just means that I have to front load more of my work and then have like 1 week or 1 weekend fully dedicated to that person, just like locked in quality time. That feels a lot easier to me to fit in, honestly. Doesn't mean I wouldn't want to be with someone who lives in the same city. Obviously, that would be lovely. I think I would rather really have dedicated time with someone than have them just sort of like be around all the time. I think like being an introvert and being someone who's like very used to having my own space, I would still like to continue having that. Even if I am dating someone. I do think the quality aspect maybe becomes like a little bit more relevant in a romantic relationship than like a platonic one, because I still enjoy parallel play with like a guy where we're like both working from home together. But I do think I want like, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I do still enjoy like very casual stuff, like us just like both scrolling on our phones in bed, or like us watching TV together. But I really like to actually like sit down and like have conversations and hang out one-on-one with like someone that I'm seeing, versus like constantly being in a group setting. But I think that's very normal. I will say with like a long distance relationship, like I definitely am not that couple where we like call every single day when we're not together and I'm like texting the every move. But you know, like speaking consistently and feeling involved in each other's lives is obviously pretty essential. So yeah, it's gonna have to be in the top 2 naturally. And then last is acts of service. Oh my God, what do I have to give to get an acts of service man in this function? So I do think, like I was saying earlier with friendships, like I'm struggling to think of examples, but I think with a romantic partner, it's a lot easier to kind of like bake in the acts of service expressions. And to give you more context for like my dad and like unprompted acts of service, like when he came to visit my apartment with my mom like in the spring, he was only here for like 4 or 5 days. Like he came in, I was like Bartholomew, my dress form, when I reassembled her after I brought her from California. I didn't do it right. He fixed that shit in like 3 seconds. Then he noticed that like the pole thing on my ceiling fan was broken. Well, I broke it. And he like used my necklace to like replace that. Then he noticed that like our door hinges are really creaky. So he like went to the hardware store and got oil to put on that so that it doesn't creak anymore, and did it for my roommate too. Then he noticed that we hadn't built our like a granny grocery cart. It was still in the box. So he like opened the box and built it. And like he does all this like unprompted. And my mom was like, this is making me realize a lot of stuff, like broken stuff around the house I probably never noticed because your dad just fixed it. I will say, I think like part of this is my dad genuinely enjoys doing these things. He's very like STEM minded. He literally has like a PhD in mechanical engineering. So I think he likes solving problems, but it is also like obviously how he expresses love and care. I need a man who does that, because like there are just certain things I can't do that like I need a man to do. So like moving, I can't lift that shit. Like when I had to install my AC unit, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. If a man won't do it for me, I have to go hire a man to do it for me. Cooking, I can cook, but I'm not that great at it and I don't love it. And I have a dad and a brother-in-law who do all the cooking. So naturally I'm like, can I just also find a man who does all the cooking? And you know, my dad also, like when we travel, he's the one who like has the itinerary, books all the flights. He like manages the money. A man who will take some things off my plate or help me with things I don't want to do is my dream man. And I could not be with a man who is not useful, because like, as you guys have heard, like the other stuff is not as important to me. Like if I'm talking a long-term partner, I need someone who will help me and like help support me by doing shit. And I think like, you know, if you're dating and like you live together, even if you don't live together, your lives are a lot more intertwined. So there are just a lot more ways to show acts of service, right? So like you could cook something for someone, take out the trash, like help with the cleaning, or like just do these kind of like ancillary things that make it easier for me to focus on like whatever work that I need to get done. To me, it feels like such a genuine expression of love. Like again, it comes from someone like seeing you, understanding you, and being able to clock what you need and think about like how they can supplement your life and make it easier. Who wouldn't want that in a partner, you know? Especially if you're talking like long term and like you're really going to be coexisting. I cannot build a lifetime off of like someone telling me I'm great or someone hugging me. Like I need someone who will do life with me and like attack the monumental task of life with me, you know? That will always be my top one and be like a really important thing for me in romantic relationships. I don't think I've ever really like dated a guy who like wasn't like this. I just don't see myself being attracted to a guy who isn't like useful and helpful and like knows how to make themselves useful and helpful. And I like to think that like I do reciprocate it. I don't know, like what are things that a man can't do that a woman can do? Okay, like for example, if they cook, like I will always wash the dishes. Like I do, you know, like to keep things fairly even and like show up in my own way. And, you know, if someone I'm with is like going through a hard time or like is really stressed, I will like actively try and think of like ways that I can make their life easier. So I like to think that, you know, it's an equivalent exchange to the extent possible. Okay, guys, I'm losing my voice. We can't talk about this anymore. It is interesting, like putting the friendship and the romantic thing side by side, because a lot of the things I'm seeking from a romantic partner are the things that I'm getting less of in my friendships, you know, like gifts, physical touch, acts of service. Whereas things like quality time, I really fully get from my friends. Like even when I'm in a romantic relationship, if I'm going through something difficult, I will often still turn to my friends to talk about it before a romantic partner, because like they've known me way longer. They're a woman, so they are likely more emotionally intelligent, and like they've known me for years, so they know like what they can say to me that will make me feel better, you know? I think like on that front, I am just like so fully fulfilled by my friendships, and so it's definitely not something I seek as much from a romantic partner. Like I know I put quality of time pretty high for romantic, but when I think quality time with a romantic partner, it's like also all the other things that go into that, like the physical touch and like the words of affirmation that I obviously don't have when I'm hanging out with my friends. So it's like interesting what you seek from your friends versus what you seek from a partner, because I have noticed with like a lot of my really close friends that like what they need from me is so different from what they expect from their boyfriend or their partner. I don't know, this was like a good, I didn't come up with anything that I haven't like already clocked about myself, but it was a good little self-assessment, self-therapizing session as I continue to not have a real therapist. And it's like interesting to just like reflect on your childhood and why you give or receive love the way that you do. And I would love to hear in the comments like what your guys' love languages are, if maybe your definitions are different. And yeah, also let me know what I should talk about next time, because I'm not sure like what other podcast ideas you have. I know someone mentioned Love Island, which I am obsessed with and obviously would love to talk about, but I don't really care about the USA cast members. I don't want to talk about the actual like show and people, and like I don't want to alienate people who don't watch Love Island, so I'd have to talk about it in a more like thesis video essay kind of way that would still make sense even if you haven't watched the show, you know? But oh my god, I'm like actually losing my voice. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Love you guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye.
You left the kitchen light on and it's 2 to go to there. It's